we have different data types in JavaScript. We have our string, we have a number, we have Boolean, we have undefined, and many, many more. There are scenarios where you might want to convert a value from one specific data type to another data type. You might want to change the data type from string to number, or from number to string, or from number to Boolean. How do we do this in JavaScript? That is where type conversion and type coercion in JavaScript comes in. Type conversion, or typecasting, it can also be called typecasting, is when you, as the JavaScript developer, decide to manually convert your value from one data type to another. You are the one in control. You are the one intentionally doing the conversion by yourself. Whereas in type coercion occurs when JavaScript itself decides to convert from one data type to another. And how does this even occur? JavaScript automatically changes from a value from one data type to another behind the scene. You don't even have to ask it to do it. It does it. And when and why does JavaScript even does this thing? JavaScript does this whenever it expects a certain type. It expects a certain data type, but receives another data type. So instead of returning an error, what JavaScript does is that JavaScript will convert the data type that it got into the data type that it expected. If you ask me, the simple difference, at the surface level difference between type conversion and type coercion is that in type conversion, you are the one intentionally telling JavaScript to convert a value from one data type to another. While in type coercion, JavaScript is the one using its own initiative, taking the decision itself to convert from one data type to another. Let's explore real-life differences between these two concepts. For example, if we have, say, let age equals 30, right? Age equals 30 is a number. We know that 30 is a number, but let us just check, right? Let's say console.log age, then comma, type of age. This will give us 30, and type of, if you don't know what type of is a special JavaScript operator that tells us what the type of a value is, what data type that value is. So if I run this and say, let's save this, if I say node type, so I get 30, which is my age, and I get number, which is the type of age. 30 is a data type number, right? But then what if I want to change my 30 from a number to a string? What do I do then? There are some inbuilt JavaScript functions that allows us to do this. For example, I can say let age equals string. Say I want to convert 30 into a string. Now I have let age equals string 30. Let me save this. Let me clear my terminal and run node type again. As you can see, now we no longer have our age to be a number. Our age is now a string. So this string function here is converting our age 30, which was a number, now to a string. And the same way you can convert to a string, you can also convert to a number. You can convert to a Boolean. For example, let me change age here, and let me just give it a name called number, and say number is a string, or don't let me give it number. Let me give it something else that is not confusing. Let me just call it a string number. String number. So I have my string number to be string 123, which is not a number. This is a string, is in a double quotation, so it is a string. If I check for type of string here, let me clear this. If I check for type of string here, oh, sorry, we didn't change this. We're getting undefined because it's asking for type of age, and my compiler is probably confused, like, what are you doing, young woman? Clear. Node type. All right, so we have 123, and the type of string number is a string. So our string number is a string, right? But we can convert this from being a string to being a number. We can convert it to a number. We can convert it to a Boolean. The same way we used the string function earlier, we can also use the number function as well. We can put our value into a number function, a built-in function called number that is built into JavaScript. And you will see now that our string number will no longer be a string. It will now be a number. Let's check it in the terminal here. No, in fact, don't let me clear it. You can see now we no longer have a string. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4 is a number and no longer a string. And that's because we have explicitly manually converted this to a number. And we can also do the same for a Boolean. Let me change the string number to, say, Boolean sample. Let me change this to Boolean sample. So if I have 1, 2, 3, let's still use this 1, 2, 3 string. If I have 1, 2, 3, right? Node type. If I have 1, 2, 3, it's still a string, right? But I can change it to a Boolean. But I have a question. If I change 1, 2, 3 in 1, 2, 3, 4 in a string to a Boolean, what will it give us? Will it give us true or false? Remember, Booleans are just two types. It's either a true or a false. Will 1, 2, 3 in a string give us true or false? Let's check. So let's convert this to a Boolean. As you can see, it is still a string now, but let's convert it to a Boolean. Let's use the Boolean function on it, and let's see what we have. So let me run node type again. Oof, what's going on? Okay. Node type. I made a mistake there. Aha! So it converted this, which is weird. It converts it to true. And now it is of a type Boolean. Why did it convert 1, 2, 3, 4 to true? Let me change 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me change it to an empty string. Empty string, nothing is inside of it. Let's try to convert it to a Boolean. Let me clear my terminal here. Empty string, let's convert it to a Boolean. Let's see what it gives us. Node type. We get a false. Why do we get a false if it's an empty string, and we get a true if it is 1, 2, 3, 4? That is because in JavaScript we have truthy values and falsy values. Truthy and falsy. I have a whole video on these, guys. So an empty string is a falsy value in JavaScript, and so when you convert it to a Boolean, it returns false. 1, 2, 3, 4 in a string is a truthy value, and that is why when we converted it to a Boolean, it returned true. But that's by the way. The point is that using this built-in function, the point of this video, type conversion that we are treating right now, before we go off guard, is that we can use this built-in function, Boolean number strings, to explicitly convert a value that is in one data type to another data type. Now, moving on to type coercion. Remember, the difference between type conversion and type coercion is that in coercion, JavaScript is the one that does the conversion for us automatically. We don't have to be the one to call the number function or the Boolean or the string. JavaScript just does it in the background. Let's look at an example. Say, let sum equals string 10 minus 2. Just by looking at this, sorry, I made a mistake here. Just by looking at this, 10 is a string. String 10 is a string. It's not a number, is it? It's not. And 2 is a number. We're trying to subtract a number from a string. There's already an issue, right? On a norm, JavaScript is supposed to call us out and be like, hey, we can't do this, right? But JavaScript doesn't do that, right? This is what JavaScript does. Let's try to see. In fact, let's try to see console.log sum. Copilot is such a okay. Node type. Interestingly, we actually get 8. Why? Why do we have 8? What happened? Because on a normal day, you shouldn't be able to subtract a number from a string. Now, let me tell you what happened. JavaScript behind the scene, it saw that 10 is a string. JavaScript itself realized the mistake that we did, right? And it saw that 2 is a number that needs to be subtracted. So what JavaScript does is that it automatically converts our 10, which is a string, into a number 10. It converts it to a number 10 to perform the operation for us, without us telling us to do it. JavaScript just does that automatically. Let me give another example. That involves, say, addition. Say let's statement. Let this just be a normal statement, and we're trying to concatenate. Let statements be I have 2 apples. Good. I have 2 apples, right? We are trying to, our plus operator here is supposed to concatenate. It's supposed to concatenate and come out with a statement. If you don't know what concatenation is, it is in one of my videos. I explained it. It's supposed to concatenate, right? It's supposed to come out with, it's supposed to join all of these strings together. But there's a number in the middle. What is it going to do about it? Let's try to console.log and let's see what JavaScript decided to do. Console.log statement. Let's see what JavaScript did. No type. Now we have a string. I have 2 apples concatenated together as a string. What happened? What did JavaScript do? What JavaScript did was that behind the scene, JavaScript saw I have and saw that this is a string, correct? It saw 2 and saw that this is a number. It saw apples and saw that this is a string. And it realized that in order to make this concatenation work, I have to convert these 2 into a string. So JavaScript by itself did the conversion. It converted 2 into a string for the what's it called? For the concatenation to occur. And that's not just all. Let me give one last example before we move on to the next point. Say let's give another example, say an addition or a multiplication example. Let 5 multiply by 2, but let it be string. Let's just console.log. Let's not create another variable. Console.log 5 in a string, 5 times 2. 5 is a string, but JavaScript will help us to convert it to a number for the sake of our operation. JavaScript will do that for us and we'll get our answer to be 10. So that is literally type coercion. We are not doing anything. JavaScript is the one taking the initiative to do what is meant to be. If JavaScript doesn't get a type of value that it's supposed to get, JavaScript by itself converts the value that you give to it, the type that you give to it, and converts it into the appropriate type that it's supposed to receive. And you can ask yourself, like, why does coercion exist? It exists because JavaScript was designed to be flexible and easy to use. It's such an amazing programming language, and that is why stuff like coercion exists behind the scene in JavaScript. And we have different common scenarios where coercion will be done. Scenarios where if you look at it, you can already know that JavaScript will definitely perform some type coercion behind the scene. For example, if you use plus, the plus operator with strings and number, plus operator can be used as an arithmetic operator to add, but it can also be used to concatenate. So if you use it with a string and a number, JavaScript automatically converts the number rather, into a string and concatenates it. And, you know, for example, if you have LO plus 5, JavaScript will output LO5 in a string for you. And if you are using other arithmetic operators, if you're using minus, multiplication, division, JavaScript will coerce the strings to number. For example, we have 5 in a string multiplied by 2, you will still have 10 because JavaScript will change the 5 in a string into a number. And when you also compare inequality, single equal, double equal, if you're using the loose equality, which is the double equal, JavaScript also performs type coercion in that scenario. If you don't know what double equal, single equal, what the difference is, there is also a video on that as well. So JavaScript does all of this behind the scene with type coercion. And as the developers ourselves, we can intentionally change a data type with type conversion. So important things to remember: type conversion is manual. We do it by ourselves. We make use of inbuilt functions like strings, boolean, and number. Why type coercion is automatic. JavaScript does that for us. JavaScript tries to guess what is this person trying to do. Let me help them to correct it. and that is type coercion. So just be very careful with type coercion. It is very useful, but it can also be surprising. It can come up with unexpected results, but if you know what is going on behind the scene, you can always make some correction and twist the situation to fit into your code used. And that's about that with type conversion and coercion. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, share, turn on notification for more tech and coding content. I post 2 coding videos every week. Please do well to subscribe and turn on your notification. See you in my next video. Bye.